Hi everyone, Melissa here from Beein Cozy Stitching. I'd like to welcome you back, and I'd like to welcome you to my quilting room. This week I'm going to be bringing you a little bit of inspiration. It's been a lovely week. I've worked on some fantastic projects, and I came across a product, or a design if you will, that I really wanted you to know about. I'm always on the lookout for interesting patterns that can have multiple uses. They are not a one thing only kind of design. I like them to have multiple function and be able to use them for a myriad of things. And I've come across that design. That design is called African Samba, and it's by Apricot Moon Designs. And for those of you that would like a copy of this design, I will put a link in the description down below, and that way you can order one of your own. Now, I highly recommend this pattern for beginning long arm quilters. It's going to give you fantastic results, and once you get the hang of the flow, you're really going to get into this design and find that it's quick and it's easy and it gives you fantastic results. But thinking about the name, you're going to think, okay, African Samba. To me, that means I can only use it if I'm doing African style or looking quilts. So that's going to narrow down the window with which I can use this pattern or this design. And I have a collection of African fabrics here behind me. My son brought these back from Africa for me, and beautiful colors, beautiful textures. I can't wait to make something with them. I'm really going to have fun with these. And more than likely, I will put this African Samba design on there. So I will show it as a peek in an upcoming video, and that way you can see what I've done with it and maybe give you a little bit more inspiration. But what I want you to take a look at when you're looking at these fabrics, I want you to notice that there's curving and there's circles, there's bigger circles, there's lines, there's a repetitive pattern going on, there's squares, there's organic. There's a lot of patterning, and there's a lot of variety and swirls and all kinds of things kind of going on, because those are going to be your cues for what to look for in your next project. Now, I have a quilt over here that I'd like to show you. This quilt belongs to Mary Wagner, and she has so graciously allowed me to film the quilt for you. But what I want you to look at, these are batik fabrics, and they lend themselves perfectly to this design. They've got circles, and they've got squares, and they've got repetitive patterning, and all the elements that we have in our African fabrics transferred over into these fabrics themselves. Now, let me pan out just a little bit so you can maybe get a better look at Mary's quilt here. This is a Purple Pineapple Studio quilt pattern. It's called One Way, and it's truly, truly lovely. It's a fantastic way to use up 2.5-inch strips. You've got kind of a neutral area here with your pop colors over to the left and to the right. It's a great way to have kind of a rainbow of colors going on. You can really get in and use up a lot of scraps. This transfers very, very well to scrap quilting. But you'll notice that we've got some pretty hard edges here, and we've got a lot of straight lining going on. So we need something that's going to soften the edges a little bit. And with this design, when you've got the curving and the triangular shapes, what it's doing is it's softening some of these hard lines that you're seeing without taking away from the overall design that you have going on here. Now the thread's going to be hard for you to see, but we've used a really bright pop color. It matches the back. So it's kind of this deep golden yellow with a little bit of brown to it, very earthy, deserty kind of feel to it. So we've matched the thread from the back to the background and applied it to the top. In the neutral areas, you get to see a little bit more of the color. When you get into more of the color areas, it just kind of blends to the background. So it's not going to take over on the quilt. It'll give you a really nice finish, lovely texture, but it won't take away from the design of the quilt or the beautiful fabrics that are used in the quilt. And in the next sample that I have here that I want to show you, this quilt too, it's done in batiks. It has, well, let me show you. It's done in blues and browns and beautiful batiks. And again, you can see we've got our circles going on. We've got our lines. We've got our squares and our texture. But again, we have another quilt that's got some very hard lines, and we need to soften those up a little bit. So that's one of our cues. We're looking at the fabric to give us kind of an idea of where we want to go with this. We're looking at the quilting pattern itself and trying to decide, do we want to keep going with more angles, or do we want to soften it up and give it a little softer feel to it? Now, when I looked at this quilt, my takeaway was sandy beaches. To me, these are waves flowing across the sand. So I knew I wanted a design that would flow and soften up these edges just a little bit. But what we've done, and I'm going to bring you closer because I don't even know that you can see the quilting from far away, but what we've done is quilted in a dark, rich navy blue thread that matches the background, or excuse me, not the background, the backing and most of the highlighted blue fabrics that are in the front. We don't want, again, we don't want to take away from the quilt. We want to add to it. And so we don't want the thread to jump out and take over the pattern of the quilt. We want to be able to see the pattern because it's very intricate and it's designed lovely. And by the way, this quilt belongs to Kathy Breunig of the Crafty Lady. Kathy makes and sells her quilts, and I will put a link in the bottom in case you're interested, if you want to contact her for custom made quilts or interested in some of the quilts that she already has made. She's one of the populars at many craft shows in our state. And thank you, Kathy, by the way. I really appreciate your letting me use your quilt as a sample to show people what this wonderful design can do. What's going to happen on this quilt is once this quilt is washed, you're going to have all this texture come to life. And so it's going to add another element to your beach and your ocean waves, if you will. And the more that you wash it, the better it's going to get. It's going to keep getting better and better and better and better and better with every washing. And it has rich, wonderful colors, and together with all that texture, it's going to be a really beautiful quilt. Just fantastic. So I highly recommend the African Samba pattern for quilting. I highly recommend that when you get out there and you're trying to figure out what to quilt where and what to put on top of what, that you use your cues from the fabric, from the quilting design. Remember, those patterns that you have are multi-use. They can be used in many different applications, many different areas, many different places. I hope that today you got some inspiration. If you've never tried working with batik fabrics, I hope you give it a try. They're beautiful fabrics. They cut well. Your accuracy is just fantastic with batik fabrics. They're a little stiffer when you buy them, but once you wash them, they're just like any other cotton fabric that you use. They're soft and yummy, and they're just a lot of fun to work with, and I'm really excited about them, and I hope that you will be too. I hope that maybe you'll give one of these patterns a try. Again, Purple Pineapple Studio. The other one is one of Kathy's designs. I it doesn't have a name, it's just her thing. But I'm sure you can see that just by putting together rectangles and long lengths of fabric, you can create a design of your own that'll be fantastic once it's put together. Use rich fabrics, use a fun and funky design, and you know, the quilting design is like the top hat to the tuxedo. The tuxedo already looks fantastic, just all by itself. That is eye candy. But once you put that top hat on top, oh, it just ratchets it up a notch. Now you've got something sophisticated and special and ew, yum. Anyway, I hope you were inspired this week. I want to thank you for joining me. If you like this video, please hit the button down below. Subscribe to our channel so we can keep going. If you have any questions, please, by all means, go ahead and put them down below. I would love if you would comment and let me know what's your favorite quilting pattern to put on a quilt. Maybe we'll showcase it in one of the future videos. Maybe you'll teach this old dog something new. That would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. In the meantime, happy stitching. It was nice to share a cup of coffee with you. Have a great day.